Hello beautiful friends, I am so happy to be with you today sharing this video as a part of YouTube Hop celebrating Danni Vee's huge 4,000 subscriber milestone. You'll find all of the details of the Hop participants down in my description box below. So we had a choice of either being inspired by some of Danni's favourite things or scrap lifting. So I wanted to scrap lift the layout, which you can see to the top right of the screen. It is one of her most recent projects, and I was so in love with the stenciled background that she created on this. I know it was a new technique for her, but she absolutely nailed it, and I really loved how it looked. So it was a no-brainer for me. I knew that I wanted to replicate this, and so I'm scrap lifting this layout. I'm also using a Cocoa Vanilla collection, but I am using the Daydream, and I'm documenting these photos of my daughter, which were taken in July 2020. So because of not the orientation, but because in the photos my daughter is looking to the left, I knew that I would have to flip my layout design around a little bit so that she was looking, in the photo, she's looking in towards the page rather than off the page, which is what would have happened if I had created an exact replica of Danni's layout. So I have flipped it a little bit. And now I am coming in with this stenciling. So this is a Kaisercraft stencil. I'm not sure what it's called. I've got a huge stash of stencils that I really love using when I remember to. But this is the first time that I have used this technique. So I've grabbed 3 Distress Oxide inks. I think I've used the Speckled Egg, Dried Marigold, and Tattered Rose are the 3 colors that I use. And I'm using some blending brushes. One of these came in a unique, one of these blending brushes, I have 3 of them, came in a Uniquely Creative kit, and the other 2 I picked up on eBay a little while ago. It's the first time that I've used them because, as I said, it's the first time I have tried this technique, and it is just fantastic. I love how this turned out. So just a little disclaimer, I'm working on my background here, but off camera I do have to start over again because what I didn't realize when I had trimmed my white cardstock down, I don't know what happened, but I had accidentally, you may be able to tell looking at it because I certainly can now, it's not quite square, so I had accidentally trimmed an extra inch off one side of the cardstock. So when I went to lay it down onto my border, my pattern paper border, which I do with almost all of my white backgrounds, it just wasn't right, and then I did a quick measurement and realized that I'd got it wrong. So the mixed media that I do off camera, it's almost identical to what you're seeing here, so I have left all of this in, but when I do come back in a moment with my white cardstock backed onto some pattern paper with the stitched border, you may notice that it is slightly different because I had to go ahead and redo it. So yeah, I love this technique. It is super simple. It creates a really nice soft patterned background. And there we are, square page, and it is backed onto some pattern paper from the Daydream collection. And now I'm just going to fiddle around with where I want these ones placed. In Danni's layout, she used a 3x4 card which had the title on it. For me, I'm also using a 3x4 from one of the cut apart sheets, but I am going to create my own title using some thickers from my stash and also some alphabet stickers which were from my stash. So like I said, I'm just figuring out where I want them to go before I start sticking them down, bringing in my T-square ruler to make sure that it is nice and straight. And I'm overlapping these photos slightly because it's just a really nice effect, and a lot of the photo is sort of negative space, there's nothing going on. And then I'm going to tuck this card. I think I decide to play around with it a little bit more because I know that I want to add some journaling in here, so I want to make sure that I've got enough room for my journaling and enough room to add some embellishing. So I'm pulling that back up and I'm going to tuck that one in, making sure it's straight again, and I think that's it. That's my final placement there. So like I said, I've got a couple of different alphas from my stash. I have a thicker, which is, it's like a really light wood grain pattern. And I've got some yellow, they're just flat stickers, which are super old. I believe they're from Elle's studio or Ellie's studio, however you say that. Very, very old. I've got them in a few different colors. So the soft yellow really matched this collection that I was using. These little pink hearts were also from one of the cut apart sheets, so I knew that my title was going to extend beyond the 3x4 card that I had there. So I've added those little hearts just to the left hand side of the card, just to add a bit more space for me to get the title down. So it's the word happy that's going to extend out over. Because these stickers, they are still quite sticky, I'm not too concerned about putting down any extra adhesive behind them, so they're just going straight down on to that card. But for my thickers here, the happy word, they are pretty old, and if you are familiar with using any of these like chunkier thickers, you will know that the adhesive on them is not always super great, even when they are brand new. So just as a matter of practice, I do like to add a little bit of wet adhesive behind each of them before I pop them down. And for this, of course, I'm using my Art Institute glitter glue, and I have the fine tip applicator on that there. That is by far my favorite wet adhesive, and I love using it. So coming in with the last bit of my title, it's just spelling out your happy place, because like most children, of course, being at the park is my daughter's happy place, and on this day it was no exception. Getting those down, and then I think we are about to move on to some embellishing. And here we go. So Danni used lots of florals. She also loves to use some word strips. So I've pulled a few things out of my collection here to build out some layers. I've got some of these not layers, to build some clusters. I'm going to tuck this big pink floral in here in between the card and the photo and have that sort of sticking up. So I really am following her design when I'm creating these little embellishment clusters. We've got this one embellishment cluster down the bottom, and that's where I'm using the rest of that pink heart strip. And as you can see, I am adding some dimension to some of my pieces using some foam squares, and that just helps to give some depth to the layers and really builds the visual interest. I've also fussy cut some what are they called? Rainbows from, I'm pretty sure that was from one of the cut apart sheets as well, and I'm going to tuck a few of those in around the layout. And I have some florals and some foliage, which I don't believe any of these that I've used have been fussy cut. They've all come from either the ephemera pack or from the sticker sheet. So what I am doing there is a couple of these florals had more of a wide white border on them. I'm not sure if it was a printing mishap or if they were designed that way, but that blue one in particular, the white border on it was really very thick. So I just grabbed my scissors and trimmed that down a little bit because I didn't want the border to be quite so thick. Yeah, as I said, following from Danni's layout to guide my decision making with where I'm placing my embellishments. There's another one of those little rainbows. I have 3 of them all together, so I'm tucking one into the top cluster, one into the bottom, and then I do add this one down here below my journaling. And then I think I'm just about done. I do have these, they're moths, they're not butterflies, they're moths, and I have fussy cut those out from one of the pattern papers, and I'm going to add 3 of those around the page. I do sort of fuss around a little bit with where they're going to go and which direction they're going to be flying, so you'll see me playing with that now. Of course, I do want to give them some movement, so to achieve that I have added some more of those little foam squares behind each of their wings, and then just adhered the center or their body down with some wet adhesive. I decided I didn't want that one there, so up it comes, and I'll add a couple more foam dots. I think I didn't like the direction that it was facing, so I've just turned him around because I didn't want them all to be facing in the same direction. And then I think to finish off, I am in a moment going to grab the sticker sheet and come in with some little tiny word stickers, and then that will be it. So as I said at the beginning, you will find all the participants of this fabulous YouTube hop down in my description box below. Of course, make sure that you go over and check out Danni's video. This is in celebration of her. She is one of my favorite scrappy YouTubers, and I definitely love watching her work and can't wait for all of her new videos. So I will leave it there and say thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day.